All right, so I want to keep this super quick. I unfortunately just finished my maintenance phase, which means it's time for a cut. In doing that, I started today. So my maintenance has roughly been between like 3,000 to 3,300 calories. I've been kind of struggling with my exercise load because I don't just lift, I do other stuff for work, and but between 3,000 and 3,500 calories has been my rough maintenance. My current weight is right around 271. This morning it had gone up because the last couple days of maintenance I've been drinking a lot more, eating a lot more carbs, that type of thing. So the max weight loss for any given phase is 10%. So holy crap, it's windy out. With a rate of loss being of 0.5 to 1% of weight per week. And usually the cut duration 6 to 12 weeks, right around there. I've seen some people going up to 16 weeks, but it's just kind of like the rough thing I'm starting with. To start out with, 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. And for me, 1% of weight loss per week would be roughly around 2.71 pounds, right? If I start at 271. So if I lost 1% of my body weight each week, I'd start at 2.71 pounds. 0.5% is 1.335 pounds. So I struggled a little bit with this. So the macros I'm doing are a little bit wiggy. My goal is to have 2,300 calories a day for the duration of this. That'd be roughly 1,000 calorie deficit a day, which would give me under the 1% body loss per week. Well under. With the 1% being 2.71 pounds per week. However, that's still a big cut. That's still a lot of calories to cut per week. And I know I can't really do that 1% for too long, or that I can't cut so much. As I get lower and lower, it's going to get harder and harder. So I figured just do a harder one now as I get closer to my goals. So what did I end up doing? For fats, I did 0.3 grams per pound. So roughly the goal is 81.3. I'm going to round up or down. So 81 grams of fat per day. Protein, I have at 0.8 grams per pound, which is 216.8. So 217 grams of protein. And for carbs, this was the harder point because I had to kind of dial it back to get the calories I wanted. So I know that roughly you want 1 gram per pound when you're exercising, but I read that you can go a little bit lower, especially on non-training days, and then scale up your carbs. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have 175.275 grams, or 175 grams of carbs per day, which is 0.647 grams per pound of body weight. It's not as good as 1, but it's much better than the minimum of 0.3 that I was reading about. So the goal is to reach my goal of 243.9 pounds, so 244 pounds. I need to run that deficit for 13 and a half weeks, which goes slightly over the original recommendation of a 6 to 12 week cut. But I know it's going to get harder and harder as I get lower, and I'm probably going to run shorter cuts after this. I'm doing less carbs, but on training days, I'm going to add carbs first. That'll be the first thing I want to do so I can kind of recover from all the training I'm doing. And the timing couldn't have been worse, but it is what it is. Now was the time to do it. I'm kind of near the end of a mesocycle, so it's going to be harder and harder to get to 0 RAR here. So 13 and a half weeks puts me from a start date of June 22nd, 2026, puts me at an end date of late September, so September 23rd, which was a Wednesday. Today's a Monday. So today's the first day of the cut. Things may go slower or faster, I don't know, because I can't really dial in the maintenance exactly. It's pretty hard with just the workload I have. So like I said, roughly 1,000 calorie deficit a day, which is 7,000 calories per week, which is 2 pounds. So I'm hoping to lose 2 pounds, which is within the safe recommendations. I'm going to see how I feel on the 23rd. If I'm not at my goal yet, I'm likely going to stop. But if I'm just feeling good, I'm probably going to keep going. But knowing me, and at my previous cut, I'll probably get to the goal before the date. It's just what I'm estimating right now. So September 23rd, I'm going to run a 10 to 14 week maintenance and just reset my set point with that. So that's the current plan. It's definitely less proteins than I've been used to. I'm gonna sit. Oh, it's definitely less proteins than I've been trying to eat, like 1 to 1.2 grams per pound, especially during this first cut and maintenance. But something's got to give, and I can't just eat like 10 carbs a day. And I'm trying to maintain muscle, so cutting all my carbs is not going to help me maintain muscle as I'm doing a cut. So yeah, after the first cut, people I care about have been kind of noticing the weight loss, so that's been cool. I'm really doing it for a couple of reasons. Mostly it's for my wife. We both want to get in shape so we can try to have kids. But the other reason is I coach wrestling and jiu-jitsu for various groups, and I feel like being in shape is a really good sales pitch for your program. So being in shape for that, and it's just kind of not going to say addicting, but it's kind of, I love the math of it and the figuring, calculating various parts of getting in shape and dialing in. Okay, I want to work on my legs. I'm trying to cut and maintain all the gains I've got. I might, for my next mesocycle, I might have to dial it back. We'll see how I handle the calorie deficit. But I'm currently at 3 days a week lifting, and currently 3 to 5 days a week of jiu-jitsu or wrestling. Depending on when the college season starts, that significantly jumps up, but I'll definitely account for calories then. So the goal is 2,300 calories, and then when I work out, eat more on those days. So, and try to make it mostly carbs, and proteins would be the second priority after I get my goal. So to try to help me recover and kind of limit the fatigue I'm kind of dealing with, so I don't just go into every day and every workout exhausted. So we'll see how this goes. I've definitely eaten less. It's not that I'm not worried about this calorie amount at all. I ate like 1,200 calories every day for like over a year. I'm not worried about it, but I wasn't training as hard, so we'll have to see. I'm very thankful on training days because, you know, eating another little bit of food definitely makes it worthwhile, and you know you're kind of replenishing and maintaining when you do that. So yeah, finally, as I said before, fat's at 0.3 grams per pound, proteins at 0.8 grams per pound, and carbs are at 0.647 grams per pound, which will give me roughly around 2,300 calories a day over a 13.5 week cut. So hopefully no big bad updates, but planning on kind of seeing how I feel and look in September.